Man, let me tell you, it is incredibly hot right now, at least for Germany. We are being hit by a serious heat wave right now, and I think it's gonna last at least until the end of this week. It already started like a few days ago, and it's gonna be always above 30. I know for some of you it might not sound like too much because you're used to it. At least for Germany, I would say it's not normal to have this much heat in a year. Like, it's normal to have a few days of 32 plus centigrade days, but like going above 35 for pretty much a week, that is very rare. But maybe it's gonna happen more and more, unfortunately. Let's hope not. But yeah, that's why I'm probably gonna keep it a bit shorter today. I also don't really have that much to talk about. I probably do have a lot. I mean, I could talk without end, if I'm honest. So whenever I say I don't have that much to talk about, it's just that I don't have consciously that much that I can think of right now. But when I start talking, I can kind of keep on going pretty much forever. The limiting factor more is my energy, especially right now. And with the heat wave, I think my energy is going to be a bit more limited. But generally, overall, I think I've been doing kind of okay this week. Like, my condition hasn't been bothering me too much. Of course, I'm still living pretty much within my limits. But generally, my symptom load has been very much handleable. And yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. I think I'm still making progress. Of course, week to week, that's not something I can usually judge my progress on. It's more like month to month, where I can say, okay, I think I'm a bit better on average this month than last month. And I'm pretty happy about it when I actually make progress month to month. Sometimes it's even just like when I look back 2 months or 3 months, that's when I really see the difference. So yeah, it's really hot. And the problem really with Germany is, or at least with most homes in Germany, is that we don't have ACs. That's why I think when I was in China, I think, okay, the summers there can be also very miserable. Actually, in most places in China, I would say it's pretty hot, and it's oftentimes very humid. And yeah, it's just not really nice. But the good thing at least is that you do have AC at home, and of course you don't have like 30 degrees indoors, I would say. But that's an issue we actually have in Germany now, especially now I live right below basically the ceiling of the house, so the heat does accumulate quite a bit here. It's not the absolute worst, but it still gets, like, yesterday it got up to 28 degrees, I think, in my room. And right now it's probably like 27. So that's usually the temperature it hovers around, I think, when we get like 30 plus 34 something outside. I also do kind of as much as I can to let it not get too hot, like draw the curtains. Right now I'm having them slightly open, so just because of the video, so it doesn't, I'm not too dark and all that. But usually, I don't even spend that much time upstairs these days. And yeah, it's pretty much darkness over here throughout the day. But that helps, I guess, a bit. I mean, I haven't tried really. I would assume if I don't do it, maybe it's then 30 degrees indoors. But yeah, I think the most hyped product in Germany right now is the Midea Portasplit AC. It's an AC that you can basically put into your room without having to, fix it somewhere by screwing holes or screwing generally. This thing isn't that cheap though. I think it's around, you could get it like for 700 euros sometimes, but I think this week it's more like 900 euros. And it's hard to get. It's also extremely heavy. So yeah, I think a lot of people in Germany right now are scrambling to buy ACs, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I also just purchased. I made a purchase yesterday night, and there was a new deal with 3 ACs, but they are not the Portasplit ones. They are not, in case you're not very familiar with ACs, which I wasn't as well until 2 days ago when I started slightly researching and talking with a friend about it, who was thinking about it. But basically, in Germany, you're probably going to be choosing between either a split AC, which is where you have a unit indoors, that blows in the cold air, and then you have a unit outdoors which does a lot of other stuff. And those are usually the most efficient and best ACs, and I think they're also the standard ones that you would find all over, I think, most countries that generally have ACs. But in Germany, I would say the dominating type on the market, at least for the past 10 years, has been the monoblock one, which is just one single unit that you put into your room, and then you just have one, how do you even call it? You have a one thing that that pushes the hot air out. But what is it even called? Why? Sometimes I lose words. I don't know if you guys have the same issue. And it's not like just in one language. Like I lose words I forget words in English, but then I know how to say it in German, for example. But sometimes I forget the German word, I know how to say it in English, or I might forget the English word, I forget to say it in English and German, but I know how to say it in Chinese and all that. There's like different kind of combinations of me forgetting a word. I guess it's pretty normal, right? I hope it's normal. It should be normal. That's what I'm gonna tell myself, and yeah, I still don't know what it's a pipe, I would say. It's a pipe maybe that leads outside, and then you just have to open your window, and then you have to kind of make sure your window is kind of sealed with like a special product, and then there's just one hole where the pipe leads out to. The issue with monoblocks is that they're incredibly inefficient because of physics. I'm not really into this whole thing, like not really that into the whole this topic, but I do kind of understand why it's inefficient. But it's basically about how it works and how it exchanges air and all that. But generally, just the monoblocks are way less efficient than the split kind of ACs. But the monoblocks are much cheaper, and they are they're just much easier to handle. And I think generally, maybe in the future, I'm gonna buy a split one, maybe the Media Porter split or whatever. But for now, I think I only paid I paid quite a bit more, but that's because I bought 3 machines. They were like in a special deal where you get 3 for a pretty cheap price. But the thing is that one of my friends, I asked him how that deal was. He was like, yeah, he wants one. So I thought like, okay, if I just get one more person to get to take off one from me, then we are set. Like basically 3 people, 3 machines, perfect. And pretty much within 20 minutes, I think I had these 2 machines sold to my friends. And so let's hope they arrive quickly, but I really am not very hopeful. I think they're not gonna arrive before the end of the week. So basically I'm still gonna try to survive this heat wave week without an AC. I mean, I've done it before in the past, but it really is uncomfortable, I would say. Like even when I was fully healthy, it was uncomfortable. I remember when I was in my student apartment during my bachelor's, during my undergrad, and I was also like on the highest floor actually. And it's a tiny room, of course, and I pretty much spent the entire day naked. Like maybe I would wear my underwear at most, but I would pretty much be naked, and then I would hop under the shower for maybe like every 30 minutes, every 60 minutes, and do like a cold spritz, I would call it, for a minute or so. Oops, pardon me. And that would be my method back then as a college student to cool myself down. Nowadays, I don't do it, of course, that often. And since I've gotten ME/CFS, it's definitely harder. Like, I think everyone, like people with ME, they generally, I would say most people are affected by temperature in general. But I think how everyone's affected by temperature is different. And I'm, of course, curious if anyone watching also has ME and wants to share. But for me, it's been like that. I think generally, and I think a lot of people are like that, we do better when it's warmer, like basically better in warmer weather than, say, in harsh winters. But generally, when it gets too hot, of course, like this, I don't think anyone's gonna be doing well. Like even a fully healthy person isn't gonna do well in the heat. And of course, people with ME, we are hit a bit harder by the heat as well. But nowadays, I think I'm doing better, of course, so it's manageable. I think the main issue for me rather is that I really want it to be colder when I go to bed. I think the scientifically best temperature, I mean, I guess it's just like based on studies, and it's probably not like there's one ideal temperature for every human being, but rather just on average maybe, and that I think is around 18.5 degrees or something like that. And I do feel like it is pretty close to what I've always felt like the most comfortable for me to sleep in. Um, and I used to have really big issues with falling asleep even before getting ME, but with ME for the first 1 or 2 years, I really struggled with falling asleep. And I was taking a lot of melatonin and maybe also antihistamines, and these things kind of helped me with falling asleep. But then quality of sleep was still an issue sometimes. And it's still not ideal, but I think it's something that I've definitely improved a lot on as I've recovered this past year. So I generally, what I want to say is that I don't have as many issues falling asleep now. It's still not as quickly as maybe some really blessed people who can fall asleep like basically anywhere, anytime, whenever they want. And yeah, I'm really jealous of that. If you are like that, you should hopefully be aware of this immense privilege of yours. But anyways, yeah, I think what I do notice, even if I manage to fall asleep, which is slower when it's hot, I do still feel like the quality of my sleep is lower. Like I feel like I've rested not as good when it's really hot, and I also tend to wake up earlier, and so that's also not ideal. But yeah, generally, I guess I just try to not spend as much time upstairs if possible. I also just try to not do as much, even though I'm not doing much anyways. But yeah, I'm still doing even less. So I'm lying down more and just not doing anything or more for larger parts throughout the day. Yeah, that's how I survive. And yeah, I do still do a cold shower every now and then. It's not exactly a shower, since I don't know if you guys are aware. I think I shared it in like an old video that I don't really shower standing up, which I think for people with ME isn't that surprising. So I really actually sit down in the bathtub and then shower, basically. I think it's still called showering because I'm not taking like a, not like, I'm not filling up the bathtub. I'm just still letting water flow on top of my head. I think that's the first time in my life that I've called showering letting water flow on my head. But literally, that's what we do, right? Most of us. And yeah, I enjoy making it cold, and I've heard there's quite a few health benefits, right? So I'm not gonna recommend it to anyone with ME, because I know that when you're pretty sensitive, like when you're very severe or generally very sensitive towards maybe the cold, then I think it could still be too much. Like I think I've tried it also in the past, and it did make me crash a bit or like have PEM. But nowadays I think it's really nice, especially when it's hot. I think it's much easier to do a cold shower. When it's like in the winter, I think you really, really, like I really admire you if you are able to do regular cold showers in the winter. I think that takes a lot of willpower, a lot of discipline, and yeah. Anyways, I think I've been talking about the heat for so long. It's like, oh my god, it's been 14 minutes almost, and that's what I mean. Like I could probably talk nonstop. Like I've already tried to. This might sound crazy, but I've tried to keep it a bit concise. Of course, I can. It's not like I'm unable to keep it even more concise. If I really need to make it shorter, I can do it, I think. But it's not as fun, right? It feels more like work then. It's like, you need to report something very concisely, and that's it. But I mean, what I'm trying to do here, right, is more like just having a chat with a friend, because that's generally more fun, right? For me, it's a lot of fun. I'm not gonna call it like my hobby, right? But if I'm honest, it's like a really fun activity that I really enjoy, that I've been enjoying for many, many years. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to do it much for, I would say, between 2020 and 2024 due to the condition. But nowadays, I can talk more, and I can even talk to the camera like this. Honestly, it's really fun, and I'm really glad that I'm able to do this even if no one's really watching or there's like a few. And I'm really grateful, by the way, to those that left some really nice comments on the first one. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, it's just really, really comfortable for me right now to do this. I've also been listening to a bit more music again these days. Music was always like this topic that also a lot of friends asked me when I got sick, and they did ask me like generally if I can listen to music, and I honestly didn't really listen to much music during my first few years of illness because it always felt like it was a bit too much. Like I think the stimulation was too much. At most, I would listen to meditation music, that kind of stuff. You know, those whatever hertz, whatever frequency on YouTube they would write, which is apparently good for this or that. I would just listen to those kind of things, or like rain sounds, thunder sounds, or those meditation boats, Tibetan boats. And some of that, I guess you could call music. That's what I would listen to sometimes. Basically anything that would be rather soothing on the nervous system than stimulating. But yeah, this year I've been able to start listening to music again, or like listening a bit more to music again, which is really nice. I've been listening to some K-pop. I've been listening to, what else? Yeah, actually, there's one artist just a tiny small artist. He's just been recently maybe getting a bit more famous. Bad Bunny. I'm of course kidding, but yeah. I've recently started listening to him, and at first, like I didn't really get it. It wasn't necessarily bad, but it just didn't, it didn't make me like really, really excited about the music. But then I somehow I don't know why, I listened to a few more songs, and then sometime I really started really enjoying it. Like, I don't know why, the sound just seems so good, the producing seems so good. I really like his voice and the way he controls his voice. And yeah, generally the music. I think it's also just a type of music that I didn't really listen to before. I think it's a pretty novel type of music for me. Like, I'm not very into that, but yeah, I think that's really exciting. I don't really speak Spanish. I had Spanish in school, and I think sometimes when I read a little bit of Spanish, I might understand the meaning, like simple stuff, but generally, of course, I cannot understand his lyrics. But I would really like to be able to understand his song lyrics, and of course I could probably just go online and get some translations. But in some way, I've also thought about how this might serve as like a motivation to learn Spanish. I mean, to be honest, to be upfront and honest with you guys, I don't think I'm gonna study Spanish anytime soon. It's not very realistic, but it's just a thought that popped into my head yesterday, I think. I was like, there's plenty of people who, they studied Japanese because they like anime. There are people who got really good at Korean because they like K-pop or maybe K-drama and all that. There's usually, these are kind of the better motivations to learn or like get really good at a language, because you're gonna do comprehensible input pretty naturally, because it's already something that you really enjoy doing. Like, that's something I struggle with Chinese. Like, I'm trying to improve my Chinese, but I just don't have a habit of really watching Chinese stuff. And I think if I was really into watching Chinese stuff, be it C-dramas or Chinese variety shows, I think I would just naturally get so much better at Chinese at a much quicker speed than I'm doing right now. But yeah, and then the funny thing is that yesterday I just opened Reddit, and then the first post I saw was like just after I had this thought, and I was listening to Bad Bunny, and I had this thought like, I wish I could understand the lyrics. And then the first post on Reddit I saw was, what was it? It was like really funny. Like, Chinese fan tells Bad Bunny at his concert in Düsseldorf, Germany, that he learned Spanish just for him. Like, I think it was like, yo aprendo español para ti. I think that's what the Chinese man said to him. And I was like, wait, why? I was also a dude with glasses. So I was like, that could be me. That could have been me. That could have been me. I mean, Bad Bunny apparently was doing a concert in Germany even. I had no idea. And I just thought, like, is that me in like 2 years after having studied Spanish, meeting Bad Bunny, and like, just because of you, now I can speak Spanish. Yeah, let's see. I don't know, because there's another update that I think is pretty interesting or pretty exciting. Also a little bit, I'm not anxious about, I guess, just a little bit unsure, I would say. I just got the notification like an hour ago or half an hour ago. So very recent. And that is that I was accepted into like an online university. And like, it's a public university, and there's, I don't know if you're familiar, but there's basically some universities, at least in Germany, that offer like their degrees and courses generally mostly online. They're kind of called distance universities, I think. And a lot of them are private, but there's one public one, and this one, well, if you're not familiar, but in Germany, public universities, they're generally pretty good, and they are also pretty cheap. So all the other private distance unis or online universities, they are pretty expensive. And I would say the public one also has a higher reputation in general within employers, because yeah, it's probably harder to graduate from it. And yeah, I got accepted, and because you guys probably don't know, but I did a master's, but I didn't graduate from that master's, and it's kind of hard for me. Like, it's actually impossible for me to finish that master's at that university I was at. But yeah, I can do this online one, and it's pretty much the same degree. And I hope that I can, how do you call it? Maybe a credit. It's not a credit, but I guess it's like convert. That I can convert like the majority of my previous credits that I already did in my master's to this new university. Actually, I almost finished my master's. Like, I was done maybe with almost pretty much 70% of the degree. I think I was lacking a master's thesis and a seminar and one tiny course. But yeah, it was just literally impossible. Like, I tried, and I just couldn't concentrate at all. Like, I could barely sit for 20 minutes at a time, and I couldn't even really think much. Like, staring at a PC screen also was incredibly hard. But yeah, I think now I'm doing better, and one advantage of this distance university is, or online university, is that, yeah, you can do things online, and it's actually also really specialized into this thing. Like, I think it's really optimized for it. You have a lot of people who do these kinds of degrees while they're working, and so it's very natural that they don't do, let's say, 30 credits a semester, but rather maybe 10 or 20. And I think that fits me perfectly right now. I'm not at a point yet where I can like sit in front of the computer or like do focused studying for like 3 hours or so at a time, or even 2 hours. It's still way too much, I think. What I can do probably is like half an hour rest, half an hour rest, half an hour on good days, and then on bad days maybe a bit less. But I think it should be just enough to at least be able to do one 10 credit course. And I think that would be already a pretty big win for me. I know it doesn't sound like much, and it wouldn't have sounded like much to me before, but for me right now, if I'm like, I can manage one course in a semester, that's already pretty good. Because I do assume that I'm only gonna get better from here. So let's say I managed to get one course, like 10 credits in the first semester, I think I can do probably 2 courses in the next semester. That's what I hope. But yeah, that's a big change in my life. I guess upcoming change, really. There hasn't been much change from like affected by it yet, but it's gonna start soon, I think. Maybe in a few months. Not that soon, but in like maybe 2 months. I'm not sure. I did apply pretty early, so I did get a very early message back from them. And yeah. I am starting to sweat. That is also what has been happening the last few days. Like, just existing, just sitting, I start sweating. I get a bit sticky, and it's generally quite uncomfortable. Yeah, there hasn't been really that much else. I mean, there's, I do have a lot of things I could talk about, but I'm starting to feel like I should end it here today. Because yeah, it is freaking hot. It is way too hot, and I feel like just me existing in this room and talking, I'm like heating up this room right now. I probably should check the thermometer if I have increased the temperature in my room just by being here. And yeah, I do think so. I think it's like half a degree higher right now. And yeah, it's 28 now. It's manageable, but it's uncomfortable for me. I think I'm just generally not very good at handling heat, and I sweat easily. Yeah. Maybe one last thing, I just see it here right in front of me, and I don't think I'm gonna show it to you guys next time because I'm probably gonna hang it up today or tomorrow, and I'm gonna forget about showing it to anyone really. But yeah, I had a friend visit me 2 days ago. Really nice as usual. We had a barbecue. Let me actually tell you about that maybe next time, because I already can feel that when I start with this new topic, I'm gonna take another 20 minutes or something. But yeah, he gifted me something. Like he just came back from China on vacation, and then he brought me this thing, and I don't know if the camera can really pick it up, but it's kind of 3D. I think now you can probably see it. Yeah, it's from Wuhan, which is in Hubei. But Wuhan, actually, I think these days, like I keep forgetting it, but Wuhan is very, very famous these days internationally, right? Because of COVID. So that's at least where you probably should have heard of this city before. It's actually a pretty large city in general with really good food and all that. But yeah, I built it yesterday. It's not very tricky. It's just a bit time consuming. It just basically comes with, I think, 7 sheets of these things, and then you just have to put on like double-sided tape. That's what you have to do, and then you just stack every sheet in the right order on top of each other, and then it creates basically this 3D effect. So basically the first 4 sheets I think are exactly the same, and then towards the front, like towards the top, like if you look at it like this, the higher layers, they're gonna be smaller in general, and then yeah, that's how you get this. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm gonna hang it up on my wall over here. And yeah, with that said, we're already at 28 minutes. I hope you're having a nice day or gonna have a nice day. And yeah, I hope to maybe have you again sometime again.